right here on the Muskegon Channel. I'm Andy O'Reilly. Dave Cackley's over there looking casual today. He's taking off his coat. He's got his shirt unbuttoned a little bit.
Yeah,
I went
purple
down today thinking we might match, but
nope.
Alas, you've blown the whole thing.
No.
And well,
so I'll wear purple on Friday.
Day. Huh?
Yeah. I wear purple like 2 days a week. I got two different purple ties, one that's like flat purple and one that's got like a pattern in it.
Yeah.
So I've got to separate that by at least 3 days.
Okay. Well,
in my
do you
wardrobe.
Really plan this crap?
Yeah, I do.
Do you really?
I have to think about it. Yeah, I've got like 3 or 4 different pairs of pants that I rotate, and I have to keep, like, I can't wear black pants on consecutive days.
Why?
I have to at least separate a couple of it because it just would be weird. I can wear white shirts on consecutive days. That's not a big deal.
Okay.
I got multiple, I got a couple of different white shirts, but dress shirts. But you mix up the tie, you mix up the sport coat. Sometimes, like today, I go no sport coat and just tie and roll up the sleeves like the common man.
Okay. See, when I get ready for a day, here's how I do it. I get up and then I pour some coffee. And then I come down the stairs, and I look on this chair right outside the studio, and I see what shirts are hanging over this chair. And I go from the muscle shirt, which I like to wear around the house, kind of sun's out, guns out type thing.
Obviously.
I wear that around the house to kind of impress the missus. She kind of digs the skin show.
Yeah.
What can I say? You got it, flaunt it. So I do.
Absolutely.
And then I look at this chair, and I look at the shirts, and I see maybe there's a NASA shirt, there's a KISS shirt. Whatever there is, just hanging there. And I go, what will I project today? Mm-hmm. And I grab one of those shirts and I change right there in the basement. And then I come in here and do the show. That's my morning routine. But today I went a little crazy. I went right there outside the studio here after, and it's an arduous commute. I have to really stop and think about those stairs when I walk all the way. It's 2 flights of stairs, my friend. I mean, it's upstairs to downstairs. And if that's not enough for you, and if you're thinking, Andy, you look a little slimmer, you look a little trimmer, you're looking kind of good, you got to keep in mind, before I go all the way upstairs to drink my coffee and kind of look at Facebook and stuff, I've already come downstairs once and grabbed the coffee and gone back upstairs, thus stair-stepping workouts.
That's basically a marathon. You're
right
pretty
there.
Much, you're doing a
So then after the coffee, I get back in the chair, couple cups of coffee. And then today, as an added bonus, I didn't even look at the chair. I went right to the dry laundry rack where the shirts were hanging to dry, and I said, let's get something more regal. Let's get something more royal. Let's go with purple.
Very good.
Look at me.
I'm not sure what they call that look. I think it's upscale homeless, but I'm not sure.
And where do you live?
Okay. Let's be nice.
I was asking.
I live in a house.
Okay.
All right. Moving on.
Oh, was there any news last night or anything?
I guess there was some sort of talk on the TV. I don't know. I was asleep. But President Donald Trump gave his first State of the Union address last night. The hour-and-a-half speech was the 3rd longest in history.
He went on for an hour and a half?
Yeah.
Wow.
Hour and a half. 3rd longest in history. Trump focused on the economy, immigration, and bipartisanship. Robert Kennedy's grandson, Joe Kennedy,
told you
gave the Democratic response. You were right.
Wait a minute.
You were right.
We had $20 on that.
No, we didn't.
Yes,
I said
we did.
It was supposed. No, we did not. I said originally, and I was right. Originally, they were going to have Maxine Waters, but they did switch it up smartly. Although, like I said, Cory Booker would have been the smartest choice, but they switched to Joe Kennedy. The contrast actually was almost too much because Joe Kennedy looked like a 16-year-old kid, but Kennedy said that hatred and supremacy are proudly marching in our streets. The Justice Department is rolling back civil rights. Russia is knee-deep in our democracy. And then he said something in Spanish. I don't really know. I saw the highlights of it. But a CBS News poll gave the speech a 75% positive rating, 25% negative. You also have to keep in mind, though, this is going to be weighted a little to the Republican side because you're going to have more Republicans watching the speech, more specifically Trump fans watching the speech. Sure. So that's going to be skewed a little bit, but by and large, it was comparable to Obama's State of the Union and Bush's State of the Union as far as approval goes. So, take that for what it's worth. He's fine on teleprompter.
And I will say that I did not watch the speech. Mm-hmm. I've read the highlights of it. If it's an hour and a half, I can't say that I'm going to read the whole thing.
Of course not.
That's but you know what else is about an hour and a half long?
What?
And I'm just going to say this. I'm not going to interject any opinion, any thought, any directive, anything like that. But if you'd like to counter that hour and a half with a different side of the coin, I'm going to recommend a show called Dirty Money on Netflix, episode 6.
Okay.
That's 77 minutes. Now, it's a little longer than an hour and a half, but Dirty Money, episode 6 on Netflix.
Okay.
Very good. That would be where I'd like to direct people that are watching this.
Okay. So, you want to say anything about episode 6, or you don't want to say anything?
I want people to form their own opinion. I don't want to wade in on this. I don't want to give my slanted viewpoint. I don't want to give.
So you're saying you do have a slanted viewpoint. I have no slanted viewpoints.
I will say this. I will say that everybody should watch Dirty Money on Netflix.
Okay.
Episode 6.
You don't think? Let me ask you something. You don't think that's going to be slanted at all? That's just going to give you complete objective truth? Honestly,
I think the people that are on this are well, I can't say that they're objective, but I think that they've been smited and they really have a story to tell.
I will say this. I think there's definitely some truth there, without question.
Yeah.
There would be. I have not, and I have to say this in the interest of full disclosure, haven't seen it. But there are two sides to any story.
I would invite you out to watch it because I know you don't have Netflix. But every time I invite you out, you end up in the tub or at least try.
Hey,
shooting
if I'm coming
is
to
not
your
really
house,
one of my things to do today. So
if I'm coming to your house, I'm bringing bubble bath.
No, you're not.
And I may be.
You're never coming back.
Yes, I'm bringing some scented oils.
Hey, and you know
candles.
what? By the way, I forgot to tell you. I was going to tell you yesterday after we got off the air. Remember I told you about that disaster response thing?
Can you reveal to everybody what it was? Okay.
Right, in a nutshell, I told you the one scenario was beyond.
Reset it for what?
So there was a training session going on yesterday at the Frau, and they were going to put doctors in the roles of the EMTs.
Okay.
And they were going to let the doctors experience what the EMTs have to experience when they go into a disaster.
Okay.
All right. So this year, the scenario was that there was somebody trapped in the basement of the Frau. We were down. I mean, it was in the Frau, beautiful building, old, historic, lots of nooks and crannies, lots of places like this. Well, we were down a hallway. We were up a ramp, and we were into a room where they put a lot of electronic controls. And the woman was trapped in between a wall and a like a tower where they put controls for computers, like a server wall.
Okay.
She's trapped, she's covered, and they have to crawl through a bunch of debris, get into this room, and get this woman who's in there crying and screaming and trying to get out of her life. She's trapped in this bombing incident. They have to get her out. And then about halfway through them trying to rescue this woman through all this debris in the dark and all this other kind of stuff, they get the call that says they have to get out because the building is going to collapse. And they have to leave her there.
Oh, my God. So
Did I tell you it was a nightmare scenario or what?
Yeah. That is horrible.
That was what they had to face yesterday.
You did not undersell that. Wow. Or oversell it. Wow.
So yeah, that's what went on at the Frau yesterday. Yeah. No thanks.
Can you imagine that?
No. And these are doctors and nurses, These are people that are used to having a very controlled environment around them and the guys that are used to calling all the shots. So, to have them take the role of the EMT where it's chaos around them all the time, and that was the crux of the training session yesterday.
God.
No thanks.
Being trained to awful. All right. Continuing, former Michigan Governor John Engler is expected to be named the interim president at Michigan State today. Former Governor James Blanchard will be a senior advisor. Both governors are MSU alums. Engler will replace Luana K. Simon, who resigned last week in the wake of the Larry Nassar scandal. Once again, this is on an interim basis, but it wouldn't shock me if he ends up being hired full-time as the president. I talked to a good friend of mine who is getting his doctorate in crisis management, and he had talked to some people at Michigan State because he's also an MSU alum. Going back to June, just before the Nassar stuff, when the Nassar stuff was kind of starting to unfold, and he was, like I said, this is his specialty. He's like, you got to get you guys got to get ahead of this. You guys got to open up everything, because this isn't going to just touch the gymnastics. They're gonna look at football, basketball. They're gonna look at anything that could possibly be in a negative light. So that you've got to get out ahead of this. And then he was like, well, obviously they did. And I said, well, who do you think, when you look at the people whose names were being kind of put out there as possible replacements for Luana Simon, Engler's name was out there, Blanchard's name was out there, Granholm's name was out there. And he said, without bad, he said Engler, Blanchard, probably Engler more, because Blanchard's a little older. Blanchard's like 75 years old. I think Engler's
really that old
69.
Wow.
Yeah. Blanchard's 75. So he's going to be there in like a senior advisory role. So you got the Democrat in the advisory role. You got the Republican. So that kind of, you've got on the committee, you've got it kind of split 4-4 Democrats and Republicans on the board of trustees. So that kind of takes politics out of it, or they hope it does. So,
well,
we'll see what
I'm
Engler,
going to say this.
We'll see.
I had to ask because I wasn't aware, but some people last night, I was watching, when they announced that Engler was going to take this role and all this other kind of stuff, it was not well received by a lot of people.
I understood that, but that's why you got Blanchard there too. That's why they brought both of them.
The overall, I mean, and I had to ask, one of my dear friends here in town, Lisa, she's a graduate from there, and really, I mean, she's like the U of Michigan State. She's like the female version of you when it comes to Michigan State. And I said, look, I'm not being a clown here. I'm not smarting off. Tell me why this is a bad idea. And what he did for education while he was in office all came up, and they don't think it's a good idea.
Well, this isn't about it. This is about getting to the bottom of.
I know. I'm just saying that
that's separate from
the idea of. Hey, I'm just telling you what I read. You know what I mean?
I understand that, but like I said, that's why you got both of them in there.
Okay.
You got one as the president, one as the senior advisor, and that should pretty much remove any concerns about politics, which this is not a political thing. This is let's try and get to the bottom of sexual assault. I didn't think sexual assault was political.
I'm telling you what the masses were talking about.
No, it's asinine. Anyway, it's bottoms up at Muskegon Snowfest this weekend. A Bloody Mary contest going to be part of the festivities put on annually by the Greater Muskegon Jaycees. The event will also include a chili cook-off, as well as cornhole and volleyball tournament. Sounds like a lot of fun. Temperatures going to be okay for this, like upper 20s, maybe 30. Snowfest running Friday and Saturday in downtown Muskegon. You going to check that out, or you? I would assume.
I don't know. We'll see.
Really? That sounds like you're a man of the people.
I know. I might be down there. We'll see. I don't know.
Shake hands. Kiss some babies, do some champagning and campaigning.
What do we got this weekend? I think we're going to go see that Groucho thing at the Frau. They got a Groucho Marx act coming, and Cindy wants to go see that. I don't know, dude. I look at my calendar anymore, and it's just
like too much stuff, too much going on.
Oh, and Saturday night I got a thing to do for the Humane Society. They're having a fundraiser for the Humane Society here, so I said I'd do that, and that'll be kind of cool.
Very cool. Yeah. Excellent. Sports. It was the Pistons knocking off the Cleveland Cavaliers, defending Eastern Conference champions, 125-114. Sparty takes on Penn State men's college hoops at the Breslin Center. Tip-off set for 6:30. That's sports.
Have yourself a great, what is it, Wednesday?
Yeah.
Yeah, hey, have yourself a great Wednesday. We'll talk to you back here tomorrow.
See ya.